Does BYD have no fruit to offer the US? Chinese giant BYD is building a massive EV factory in Mexico, but they say they have no plans to sell those cars in the United States. Is that really true? We'll dive into what BYD's saying, why it might be fishy, and what it means for the future of EVs in North America. Let's get charged up. BYD has recently made it clear that they have no intention of selling electric vehicles in the United States. This statement was, in return, concerns raised by US lawmakers, politicians, and the media, who have expressed fears about Chinese cars entering the American market. However, it's worth noting that BYD already sells a variety of vehicles in the US, including buses, trucks, and machinery. In fact, they even manufacture these battery-powered vehicles in America, creating employment opportunities for thousands of Americans. These vehicles have gained popularity due to BYD's competitive pricing. Interestingly, BYD is now planning to establish a Gigafactory in Mexico to compete with Tesla. They are actively searching for suitable sites and staff, as they are determined to manufacture electric cars in Mexico. BYD, the titan of China. China's BYD started as a battery manufacturer, and now they are one of the global powers in the EV market, who are fighting an EV war with Tesla. The company passed Tesla in worldwide sales of fully electric cars late last year. However, around 80% of their sales happen in China among around 91 companies, which has been growing by about 1 million cars in each of the past 2 years. It is the very reason why BYD wants to expand its dominance worldwide. BYD is building assembly lines in Brazil, Hungary, Thailand, Uzbekistan, etc., along with their plan to expand in Europe. Along with that, the company is on the cusp of passing Volkswagen Group, which includes Audi, as the market leader in China. Talking about the new strategies of BYD, BYD sells way more cars than Tesla in China. When we see the statistics, around 95% of BYD's cars are sold in China, and a trend that has been seen is that BYD has just reduced prices on every single one of its models over the past few months. And now, they are even planning to reduce prices even more on the BYD Han EV and the electric BYD Tang, making it ridiculously cheap. The price of the new BYD Han EV is $25,000 for the cheapest version, and this car is significantly bigger and significantly cheaper than the Tesla Model 3. The $25,000 version of the car has 500 kilometers of range. The 600 kilometers range version is $27,800. The 715 kilometers range version is $30,000. And the 610 kilometers range, Eye of God, all-wheel drive version costs around $34,700. This version is meant to be top-notch in performance. What is it like? Wait, I will tell you, you're basically getting a Tesla Model 3 performance, which is significantly bigger and costs around $34,000, which is much cheaper than the equivalent Tesla Model 3, which is small and does actually have features as much as BYD Han. When it comes to the engine, the cheapest version has the same motor as the Ateo 3, which is 150 kilowatts and 201 horsepower. For the performance version, it has 380 kilowatts, which is 510 horsepower and 700 newton-meters of torque. This model also uses a 5 mm wave radar, with many of them having 12 ultrasonic radars and 11 cameras. It will send input from all these sensors to its Dialet 1008 system, which is powered by a Horizon Journey 5 chip, with 128 TOPS of computing power. BYD is evidently playing with technology that has the potential to excite customers. At the same time, they are reducing the prices to make the customers buy the car to experience the tech marvel. It has been the winning mantra of BYD for the past couple of years. Now, what is Mexico meant for BYD? BYD is forging ahead with its plans in Mexico, which has been boiling for quite a while now. The company has now confirmed it will open a plant in Mexico, which borders the US, and last month, it launched a new EV in the Mexican market as it seeks to grow its sales outside China all around the West. The company launched its Dolphin Mini EV in Mexico as well as in Brazil last month. BYD plans to sell the electric hatchback, the most compact of its Ocean series, for about US $21,000. This price can be said to be less than half the price of the cheapest vehicle currently made by Tesla. BYD America's CEO, Stella Lee, told the reporters, "We're looking for a suitable location for a Mexico plant, which will make 150,000 vehicles per year for the Mexican market." Even though the company hasn't confirmed when the plant might open or how much BYD is planning to invest in the new facility, The automobile world speculates that the company is looking for sites in central and southern Mexico, rather than in the north of the country, where there is already an established automotive sector. Since BYD is a newcomer to the West, they are looking for a location with local infrastructure and the availability of labor in mind. How does this Mexican plant affect the U.S. automobile market? We plan to build the facility for the Mexican market, not for the export market. This is a statement that came from Stella Lee. Despite this confirmation, U.S. automakers are concerned about the entry of BYD in the U.S. market with comparatively cheaper Chinese vehicles. The U.S. automakers always feared the entry of BYD. But now, as the company is deepening its ties with Mexico, the threat it poses to the American automotive industry and its workers is a little high. As the company sold 520,000 EVs to become the world's top electric vehicle manufacturer by sales, overtaking Tesla's entry to the U.S. market will change the landscape of the U.S., along with the global market. Now, does BYD really want to do business in the U.S.? The executive vice president and CEO of BYD Americas, Stella Lee, in her interview with Yahoo Finance anchor Akiki Fujita to discuss the global EV market, said that they have no plans to sell passenger EVs in the U.S. The leader does see the U.S. market as interesting, but too complicated due to conflicting politics in the country. At the same time, she compared the Inflation Reduction Act in the U.S. to China's success with EVs. China has around 35% of the EV share, while the U.S. has about 7% because the restrictions with the IRA are designed to promote domestic investments. The BYD founder Wang Chuanfu doesn't foresee any impact from U.S. President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which offers generous incentives for selling EVs but has stringent requirements on manufacturing and supply chain sourcing in the country. Along with that, the chicken tax imposed by the U.S. government will surely hinder the investment or sales of BYD in the U.S. market. Chicken tax, for those who don't know, is a 25% tariff on light vehicles and trucks imported to the U.S. But can they resist the U.S. market? Even though the company gives no hope for their entry to the U.S. market, that cannot be true for a long time. An automobile giant like BYD cannot resist a dynamic market like the U.S. for so long. It won't be true that they have no aspiration to enter the second biggest car market, which is the U.S. market. However, there are endless parameters to consider when deciding on the right time and space to mark the arrival of BYD in the American market. But one thing is for sure, such an arrival will be potent to change the landscape of the global EV market. What do you think? Is it the right time for BYD to make such a move? Comment down your opinion below. Click the like button, and please follow us for more in-depth automotive news on the latest industry advances and innovations. Until we meet again.